Sunday on Denver 7 News.
As the president has said, we believe that Putin has made his decision. Period.
The tension on the Ukraine-Russia border continues to intensify this morning. What we can expect from the Biden administration in the coming days as an attack from Russia remains imminent. And the total on your electric bill might change depending on when you use your electricity. Why some say this new plan just isn't feasible. And now that we know who's hosting the Oscars, we're learning more about the artists who helped create the nominated films. Good morning. We hope you're having a great start to your day. I'm Micah Smith.
I'm Katie LaSalle. Welcome to Denver 7 News. Today it's going to be a high near 60 degrees. We saw beautiful weather yesterday across the state. More cloud coverage for this afternoon, and then some major changes on the way with our next incoming winter storm from the north, dragging in snow and much colder temperatures early next week. I'll show you that coming up. But this morning you can see downtown Denver under a mix of sun and clouds, same out through City Park. Right now we're in the 30s over much of the metro area. Winds will be gusty at times this afternoon, currently sustained from the southwest at 13 miles per hour. But you can see those temperatures already in the upper 30s to upper 40s into Boulder and Broomfield, out to the airport. Fort Collins at 42 degrees at this hour. Temperatures still cold into the high country with single digits over Steamboat down through Alamosa. Right now we're in the low 30s in Burlington. Your brunch forecast for today, mostly sunny skies into 9 o'clock. By 11, nice temperatures will top out nearly 15 degrees above average, around 60 later on today. Here's Futurecast. You can see dry conditions for today into tomorrow. Here comes our next cold front. We'll talk more about how much snow we're expecting for the mountains and across the plains through Tuesday coming up.
We're talking about the potential for war in Europe. I mean, let's really take a moment to understand the significance of what we're talking about.
Vice President Kamala Harris is answering questions in Munich this morning as the situation on the Ukraine-Russia border continues to intensify. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live this morning. And Christian, President Biden is meeting with the National Security Council later today.
Yeah, he is, to discuss the increased tensions in Ukraine, which is surrounded by Russian military. President Biden says the threat of invasion is high and could happen any time now. And as you just mentioned, President Joe Biden is going to meet with the national security team today. He will be joined by Secretary of State Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, along with Vice President Kamala Harris. During Harris's trip to Germany, she met with Ukraine's president and other U.S. and NATO officials to talk about a diplomatic solution. And there she issued this warning.
We are prepared to move forward with consequences. We have prepared together economic measures that will be swift, severe, and united. We will impose far-reaching financial sanctions and export controls.
According to U.S. officials, there are around 150,000 Russian troops near Ukraine's borders right now. Defense Secretary Austin says there is still a chance for a more peaceful resolution if Putin so chooses. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. So let's give you a little more context here. First, why are Russia and Ukraine at odds?
The escalation of this years-long conflict began between the two countries back in the early 90s after Ukraine left the Soviet Union. Since then, Ukraine has started to form a relationship with the European Union and NATO. NATO, the Atlantic Oceanic Treaty Organization, has slowly been expanding the countries included in the treaty in recent years, and as Russian leaders see it, potentially posing as a threat to their country.
In 2014, mass protests forced Russia-friendly president out of Ukraine after he refused to sign an agreement with the European Union.
Yeah, this led to Russia annexing a Ukrainian peninsula, which resulted in a rebellion group forming in parts of the country. In 2015, a ceasefire agreement was reached between Russia and Ukraine. In the last 7 years, the Ukrainian government reports nearly 14,000 people have died because of this conflict, and 1.5 million people are displaced.
And it is still not entirely clear what Russian President Putin's goal is once the attacks on Ukraine move forward.
If paying for gas has already been stretching your budget, brace yourself for this. Oil experts are now saying because of the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, oil prices could jump to more than $150 a barrel, which could translate to $7 per gallon for gas. Russia is the third largest oil producer in the world on average, pushing out 10% of the world's demand daily.
Ukrainians in Colorado rally in solidarity at the state capitol this weekend as fears grow Russia will invade their home country. Well, those with family in Ukraine say this is history repeating itself, and they're worried about the devastating consequences of war.
They have no place to hide. They know it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine will die, but so will many, many Russian young men and women from Russia.
People from other Eastern European countries like Belarus and Lithuania were also at the rally, and they're concerned if Russia does invade, their home countries could be next.
This weekend marks 80 years since an executive order imprisoned many Americans with Japanese ancestry. Some of the victims were taken to Amachi, an internment camp in southeastern Colorado. Senator Michael Bennet, Representative Joe Neguse, and Interior Secretary Deb Haaland visited the site Saturday for a day of remembrance. They were also joined by Derek Okubo. 3 generations of his family were interned at the camp.
It's a part of an American history that for many years people wanted to sweep under the carpet. If we're really to grow as a country, we have to face our demons, and we have to be willing to feel things that we aren't willing to feel, and to think about things we don't want to think about.
The Senate recently passed legislation that would make Amachi a National Historic Site. Okubo spent the past 8 years helping with the internment camp's preservation. He says his dad, who has since passed away, would be proud to see the site become part of the national park system.
He would be just so happy. Just the level of gratitude that he would be feeling would be extraordinary. I kind of feel it, just thinking about it, as far as how he would be feeling.
The legislation still needs to pass the House. Then it will go to President Biden's desk to officially declare Amachi a National Historic Site.
A Colorado military family is now one step closer to getting closure about their loved one killed in the Korean War. This is Richard Lee Hall. He was killed in action during the war, and his remains have never been identified. Well, his family is sending DNA samples to the Department of POW and MIA Accounting Agency. The agency is trying to identify 50 remains from the war. The family says if his remains are identified, they will be brought back to his grave at Fort Logan National Cemetery. Well, 7:07 in paying for your electricity based on when you use it.
That's the idea behind Xcel Energy's new plan for Colorado customers, but some say it's not feasible. The new plan for Colorado starts for more than 300,000 customers in March. The concept, the price for electricity, is based on when it's used. The peak times are weekdays between 3 and 7 p.m., but the best times to run major electric appliances would be daily before 1 in the afternoon and after 7 at night, plus weekends and holidays.
Not everybody has the time like that they suggest. Sometimes some people work, some people are not home at the time that they expect us, I guess, to do laundry.
Xcel says the more customers who switch their energy use to when the demand is lower, the more money they could save. It means doing things like running your dishwasher overnight and doing your laundry on the weekends.
Well, prices will also change based on the time of year. For example, electric prices will be more expensive during the summer, especially during peak times compared to the winter. You can find more information about Xcel's time of use pricing right now on its website.
The support for those in need after the Marshall Fire just keeps coming. How members of Denver Sheriff's Office are helping out this weekend.
And one metro school district is struggling, and how you can potentially be one of the people to help fill more than 100 openings.